We just got through interviewing one of the bigger comic book writers that is in the industry right now. We just talked to Leah Williams. And the writer has dominated the conversation in comics for about the last 20 years solidly.
Hmm.
But now, but now, people are positing that because of some of the success of certain artists, that we are seeing a rise and a return to the superstar artist in comics. And I'm curious about that. I have thoughts about that. And we're going to talk about that here today on episode 495.
Ooh, we're
Hey,
getting
yo.
close, guys.
So close.
We're edging to that 500.
Hey.
Which,
Woo.
do we have plans for? I don't know. Stay tuned.
Oh,
I'm just saying, if Grant Morrison wants to answer their email, feel free.
wouldn't that be something? I would
Please
love
respond.
it. Yes, yes, I'm here. I am here. Sorry for my tardiness and my absence throughout the week. We'll talk more about that a little bit later on. You guys are here with us. We've got Marco.
Celsius.
We got Tyler.
Cells? No, that's his. I got
my bit, it's my bit.
the heads are mixed up on the thing because I thought I was you.
And I'm Sean, live and in effect. Thank you so much for being here, whether you're live or in the future. Smash that like button. The GOAT Game goal is live right now. I know you guys supported us during the Leah Williams interview. We need your support right here today, right here this morning. Let's do it. Hollywood Reporter put out an article this week. Well, last week. A little late on it, but last week. And in the cover image of the article are Nick Dragata and Daniel Warren Johnson. Two of the superstars of the moment in comics, undeniably. Nick Dragata's life has been changed by Absolute Batman. At 50 years old, he has found success the likes of which the large majority of comics artists will never sniff and haven't since the 90s. On the other hand, you have Daniel Warren Johnson, who is a writer, artist, 1-2 punch, very, very akin to a Frank Miller. The kind I don't think we have actually seen since the Frank Millers of the world. To have not only the talent, but the recognition to match it. The Hollywood Reporter suggests that they're two among a wave of artists right now who are changing the game. And I want to read a little bit from the Hollywood Reporter article written by Boris Kitt, who often does a lot of the comic book related articles. So this is what he said. For most of the 21st century, despite being a visual field, comics has been a writer-dominated medium. Even though some artists gain a degree of popularity, it has been writers such as Bendis, Kirkman, Snyder, James, Tynion, and Brian K. Vaughan that have been the stars in the field, rising off a platform built by a previous generation of wordsmiths, names such as Alan Moore and Grant Morrison. Dragata, Sherman, and a handful of others that include names such as Dragata, Johnson, and a handful of others that includes names such as Hayden Sherman, Jorge Jimenez, and Peach Momoko have become among the biggest artist names in comics since the early 90s, when a group of artists led by Jim Lee, Todd McFarlane, and Rob Liefeld quit Marvel Comics and created Image. It was comics Beatlemania when those artists made store appearances in places such as LA's Golden Apple. In response, Marvel and DC clamped down on the power of artists and raised the voice of the scribes. Quote, certainly in the 90s, artists and image artists ruled the land, says Jim Lee, who lived through the artist reign of the 90s and has been the DC chief since 2010, first as co-publisher and then sole publisher. He has seen the vagaries of the comics industry ebb and flow, including the rise of the writer class. Lee describes the current state as a, quote, getting back to a balance where both Artists and writers are driving sales and driving fans. The return of the the artist as superstar is good for the business. It is good for the art form, he says. I'll stop there. I've been saying for years that artists have been in the backseat. It's obvious. We don't talk about artists the same way, but that has changed. That's absolutely changed. You can feel it. What do you guys attribute that to?
Mm.
I think strangely, I can attribute that somewhat to Snyder, at least on the absolute side of things. I mean, we talk about the absolute comics and how visually distinct they are, and how there's art that feels a little more manga, feels a little more European, and not traditionally DC. And I think Scott Snyder, as he curated the absolute line, really had the idea of the artist in mind during that curation that showed how distinct their art was to an audience that was used to house style. And because of that, the artist jumped out even further as a creator in the process.
Mm. Mm. I think that makes sense, and I think because of how distinct when you make that comparison to, let's say, a Peach Momoko, right, who is Marvel but not definitely not house style, like that stands out in contrast. And not to say that those artists aren't stellar in their own way, but when it comes to the stylistically, I feel like we have a grounding in something like a Dan Mora or Jorge Jimenez. Those are like foundations, it feels like, that then from there people kind of creatively spawn out of. But then we have had disruptors more recently, people that I think there's been a palette, an opening of palette to different kind of art, like that of Hayden Sherman's, like that of Dragata, that is functional first and foremost, and then it is stylistic. And I think when you have to have you really have to have your foundation first, um, and then you can introduce your flavor. And I think that's the distinction, is that the all of that slew of artists, that house style, they have a foundation, right? But they haven't gone beyond that to become stylistic.
Yeah, I share a lot of those feelings.
Mm.
You know, if you go back to the 2000s and you look at the artists that were the most successful in that era, you're talking about David Finch, right? You're talking about Alex Maleev, you're talking about Brian Hitch, you're talking about Mark Bagley, and they're all amazing, and I love every single one of them. There is a sort of I think that the widescreen,
Yes.
true to life
Mm,
characters and figures, that's my preferred art style. But I also understand that what that creates is an ability for the reader to get sucked in. You get sucked in, and all of it looks great. But for me, what happens is I see the visual. I know that's Wolverine. He looks exactly like I expect Wolverine to look. I don't have to I don't have to dive into that visual.
Mm.
mm,
I get that.
Uh, I'm, I'm thinking of, like, because you mentioned like the cinematic era. I'm thinking Ultimates. I'm thinking Brian Hitch, and like when I think of that art, I think of the characters. I think of the work of art, not necessarily the artist, unless I not my immediate thought. I think of Ultimates, I think of Cap with the, what do you think? This is an A on my hat, or whatever the hell that quote is. So like, I'm not thinking of it as like an art forward piece as much as a
mm.
joint of everything, kind of just giving me a movie on a comic.
It's a vehicle.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think that what we're seeing now is that a lot of the fans who were around at that time and rejected artists whose styles were different, those fans are either out the way have grown up like me and are now like comfortable accepting art that's not always at first glance visually appealing. Art that requires you to take a second look. Listen, Hayden Sherman's art is gorgeous. I'm not disputing that.
Yeah.
Daniel Warren Johnson's art is beautiful. What I'm suggesting is that it's not as digestible as what David Finch does. And
Mhm.
that is what makes it stand out so much. Dragata's artwork is not what you would have ever seen on Batman, ever, in my opinion. At least not in the last 20 years, prior to Absolute Batman. And because it's so visually distinctive, because it's bringing in influences from outside comics, whereas it feels for the last 20 years, all the artists we've had have been inspired by the same medium they're working in. Now it's like, oh shit, there's artistry and differences and a fuckiness to it and a funkiness to it that's like, yeah, I want to pay big money to see this.
I think the to what you were saying earlier as well, the cinematic, nature of it, that was a vehicle for the storytelling for sure. But I think also it was meant to feel like an adaptation of another medium, right? Like it was meant to kind of translate that to some degree. Now we're not getting a translation. We're getting a setting of expectation in that only comics can do, in the way that it twists perspective, especially with something like Hayden, the way that you have rhythm in what Dragata does, the way that you just have some clean ass lines with Jorge Jimenez, on the stuff he's doing with Batman. Like even more recently when we were doing the book club, there's been a transformation in Jorge Jimenez's art to where it is now when we were reading Super
Mhm.
Sons, right?
Yeah.
Like that has happened to individual artists over the course of time, and now I think they're really getting the chance to shine because they're pushing the artistry and the bounds of what comics is communicating to us, and we're more, I think, overall intelligent readers about it.
And Sean, you mentioned like the digestibility of the art and compared to the 2000s. In like, I'm gonna ride that food analogy a bit. Like that early 2000, like the 2000s art. I'm thinking like your David Finches, your Brian Hitches, even like it's like saying Voldemort, but like your EVSs and stuff like that at the time.
Mhm.
Um, it was like McDonald's, and I'm a McDonald's fan. I love a Big Mac. I love just shoving. I drink the fries at the end, you know? So like that was enjoyable, but it's like easy. I can eat that in the car on the ride. But with the way like your Daniel Warren Johnsons are now, your Nick Dragotas, your Peach Momokos, it feels a little bit more like, I don't know, I'm trying a little spicy Thai food, you know? It's a little spicier going down, but I'm still enjoying it. It's a little different. Maybe it has an ingredient here that I'm not used to. Like, what the fuck do you mean there's cardamom in my latte? All right, sure, I'll give that a shot. But you know what? That shit's good.
You know what, you bring up EBS, and we
We don't need to bring them
recently,
up anymore.
well, sorry, just because for new X-Men, right? Like the book that they're going to be doing
Sure.
next week, we uh seeing that art, and seeing that there are moments of like one page really looking to shine, really detail. It also has felt like it was relegated to only a splash moment. It wasn't the entirety of a book, that we were really rendering or that we were really doing something interesting with. It was, here's a moment to shine. And similarly, Frank Wiley's on that book, who is funky as fuck, right?
Very.
But that is not, because that is so atypical. It feels, especially for when it was coming out at the time, 2004 or something like
But
that,
one.
2001.
Yeah.
Like it stands out, but it stands out alone, right? It no longer stands out alone. That kind of style doesn't sit by itself, and I think there's a rallying of a collective of artists that are doing beyond what they were previously allowed.
Oh,
Mhm.
dude, let's talk about it because Frank Quietly, one of my favorite artists ever, I have heard so many people say his art's ugly. I refuse to read new X-Men because his art is ugly.
I call that a skill issue.
Yo, facts.
Like, okay, his characters are sometimes fucking ugly. That's the point. I like it. I like that fact. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need everybody to be super pretty and perfect looking. Let's get some of that grunge. Frank Miller's characters weren't all like that, you know?
Yeah.
There's a weirdness and a creepiness to his anatomy, and it's gotten more and more over the years, but I feel like those elements were always there somewhere in his work. And I feel like had he been had his prime come now, my
Oh
God.
man. Was it Pack Illustrations here? Says it's dirty. It adds that to that character, and that's, I think more holistically. But yeah, I think you're right that Frank Quietly's art is non-conventional. The way that he renders faces, the way that people look, yeah, they're kind of gross, but that's his style, and he has a artistic foundation. Um, uh, for anybody who's on the Patreon, my last newsletter was a breakdown of literally a singular page. I had a 15-minute
Uh,
just blab about, sorry,
a what book?
of new X-Men
Oh yeah, yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
issue 121. There is one page. It's Frank Wiley art, and Frank Wiley is doing some mind-bending work, and it stands out. And if that were to happen now, dude, we'd be talking about him the same way we're currently all talking about Hayden and the way that his, because that work feels like it comes from that school.
Yeah.
It
Let's
and it,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, and it's very similar to the '90s. I'm thinking
Mm,
about like think of the artists that were at the Image Founders, right? Yeah, your Jim Lees, your Liefelds, who is a hot commodity on Threads this week. Um, Liefeld, your Larson as well. We see them now as like, oh, that's just standard. But back then, it was not. Jim Lee's X-Men was wildly different than the stuff that was previously going on in X-Men. I'm thinking of like your Ramitas, your Buscema's and stuff that were in your big two comics at the time. Jim Lee's style is wildly different. Liefeld's style is wildly different. So that distinction of style compared to the rest of the line really helps it kind of shine a spotlight on it. And I think like that is what we're seeing now, especially at DC. Think about like how two of these artists that they mentioned in this article, Tragoda and DWJ, those guys have worked for DC. DWJ is kind of a freelancer. He goes wherever he wants, which is
yeah.
great for him. But the one they mentioned that's a Marvel person is Pete Momoko. There is nobody at Marvel doing things the way Pete Momoko is doing it. And I think that's why it's so it's so earth shattering. And I think that's probably why we don't talk about Marvel as much. I think they're getting to a point where the there might be shifting a bit, but for the past couple of years, they really stuck to, and I think that's it's an issue with CB Cebulski's kind of globalization in his art and his choice of artists, is that it was a very samey feel. Not to denigrate any of the artists, but everything kind of had a distinct house style. I'm thinking of like what I'm enjoying in Marvel right now, Pascal Ferry. Nobody draws like Pascal Ferry on Mortal Thor. Nick Klein on Hulk. Nobody's doing it like him. So that's what's drawing me to that stuff. Uh, so yeah, that's just like I'm looking at like why maybe Marvel isn't the one that's showing superstar artists as well.
And I think a good way to put that as well is consistency. I think as an
Mm.
editor, I'm sure you want a consistent product. And so you reach out to artists that, to what you're saying, that sameness, for me is more like, I think editorially I can kind of control the output a little more, a little better. And so it makes it for maybe easier for like promotion, for things like that.
Mm.
Let's hit a couple of these super chats. By the way, we're almost halfway to the goal already, and
Yeah,
we've been
damn.
live for like 20 minutes. So thank you so much for that. You guys know we will always play the GOAT game or the WOAT game if we reach the goal. Benjamin Loudly trying to help us get there with the 5 spot. Thank you, brother. Says calling Daniel Warren Johnson just an artist at this point kind of feels like a slight.
Get that?
Uh,
Uh,
I think his artistry is without question. I think thinking of artists as just a person who draws is a slight.
I don't think, yeah, and I don't think that the article or us for that matter are suggesting that he's just an artist. I think that what it's suggesting is that he is among a crop whose art specifically
Mm.
is driving sales and attention. That Absolute Batman annual,
Mm.
let's not forget, that was a massive deal.
Yep. Yep.
And that was him on the words and the art.
He was doing was he doing The Moon is Following Us?
He was writing
Yes,
it.
but
Yeah.
he was
It's
writing
just
it,
writing,
yeah.
just writing.
Yeah.
Okay.
He
Gotcha.
did
He did covers though.
he did covers, and there were also pages in each that were by
That's
him,
right.
Yes.
Okay.
but it was just a handful.
It was like the in reality ones, right? That were him, from
I
what I
believe
remember.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Entertain me with the 5 spot. It would be incredible if when the pals do episode 1000, or I
think
guess
he
he meant 500. Yeah.
Yeah.
We get 300 more subscribers to reach 7K. I will continue to do my part by posting links on social. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, bro. All of you guys that contribute. I mean, Entertain Me is a patron. He super chats. He shares our link. I mean, you guys are warriors for us.
He's
We
a
salute
hater
you.
of you, Sean.
He's a hater of me, which is
Yeah.
appropriate.
Yeah.
Rival.
Thanks,
I'll grab
brother.
this next one from Common Sense for the 4.99. Thank you so much. I got into Anya Corazon Araña because Mark Brooks' old anime manga style art in 2000s. Why do you think he stopped with that art style?
That was Mark Brooks. That's wild. Um, because it's what sells. Current Mark Brooks sells a buku bucks.
Mm,
Whether that's, just a cover or him selling prints, like he's got to do what gets him that money too. And I think you can also, like, it's not his style that it was in the 2000s, but it is still distinctly Mark Brooks.
mm.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed. Common Sense with 199. Wes Craig should be a superstar artist. Dude, I've been banging the Wes Craig drum for a while.
Yeah.
I agree.
And you know what? What was it? The All-In special?
Yeah.
Where he propped up, like that was it felt like an indicator of we're going to be doing more stuff like this. We're going to be introducing you to more artists like this. Here's a flavor.
That doing the absolute stuff with Wes Craig initially for that All-In special was genius because it was a split book, right? Was
Yeah,
it
yep.
Yes.
who was the other artist? Was it
It was
Sandoval?
Jimenez, I think, right?
or Jimenez?
Hold on. Let me pull it up. Let me
It
pull
was
it up.
Yeah.
either Jimenez or Mora.
But it was a
believe.
DC proper artist, and like Wes Craig is dirty. His shit's a little crusty in the best way possible. So seeing that distinction on the literal page as it split and flipped. Mark, who was it?
Daniel Mora, oh my God, Dan Mora and Daniel Samper.
Samper. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are a lot of Dans over there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that makes sense. And then they used Wes Craig again at the end of DCKO as the
Yep.
the bookend. So
Which
he's kind
thematically,
of yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I think, and actually, I have something to say about this that ties into Ted H's super chat. Ted H with the 10 spot. Really appreciate that, Ted, and I hope you've been having a great time on the Discord. Our Discord is fucking wild. There is literally always people in the voice chat, except when we're live, which I appreciate the respect to not be doing that while we're live. But Ted says, I might be wrong. To me, most of these rising megastar artists seem to gain fame and recognition through the work for DC. DC is just so lucky. DC's not lucky, brother. DC's not lucky. Let me tell you some history.
Okay.
You go back to the 80s, and creators had no rights. There was no such thing as creator ownership. There was no such thing as creators having the ability to negotiate their contracts, all that. It was Jeanette Kahn who brought creator rights to comics because she championed that at DC, and she fought Warner Brothers to get this. And that was the reason why we got the Alan Moores of the world, Grant Morrison's, Mark Miller later on. That was the reason. And that's the reason why so much of their top work is at DC. What was happening at Marvel just shortly after that? You had the Image Exodus, right? That exodus did not happen at DC. It happened at Marvel. That is why those two things are why DC is almost always been more artist forward than Marvel, and why in the 2000s people always said, if you go back, if you know your history, people always said DC had the better artists, Marvel had the better writers. That was what people always said. And that's the reason why. History is still playing out between these two companies. DC's more willing to take risks with artists, whereas if you look at Marvel's top books and their top artists, they look similar. Not the art, but the style of art.
Yeah. And you're saying it's not a luck thing; it's by design.
It's 1000%
Yeah.
design.
Yeah.
Samuel
Uh,
Summers dropped five.
15? Oh, he
Whoa.
keeps dropping them. What is this? This is like
Yeah. Oh,
20
thank you.
bucks now?
Five spot to say, hey, pals. Thank you. Hey. Another to five to say that was a great interview. Leah Williams was fun.
She was, man.
Yeah.
She was game to, to get goofy.
First time I've said cunnilingus during an interview. So,
I doubt that.
yeah, I doubt that too.
He also says, I plan on picking up Voyeur and Roots of Madness. Brother, I think you'll enjoy both.
It's
Yeah.
written by her sister, Stephanie.
Her sister from a Black Mister.
Yeah.
Samuel Summers also says Daniel Warren Johnson has become a superstar artist to me. I'll buy anything he makes. I think a lot of people feel like you do, dude. And another five to say, I don't have any other statements. I appreciate you, brother. Samuel Summers has supported us so much and just got us over the goal to play the GOAT game this morning. Not even an hour into the live stream. Thank you so much, Sam. Says here's five.
I love that sound.
Maybe we'll play WOT. Maybe we'll do that today. Who knows? We'll see.
I'm feeling a little woady.
Wody?
Kurt Wildshut says the last time I can recall Marvel being artist forward, it was Marvel Now with people like Erica Henderson, Phil Noto, Mike Del Mundo. That's a great point, but notably not not an overwhelmingly successful era for Marvel.
Yeah. I was going to say that was an era where Marvel, that's probably the last era where Marvel was decided to make some risky moves.
Yeah.
Different artists, different characters being focused on. And I liked Marvel Now and All New, All Different, but it didn't, money wasn't there. So I think Marvel is explicitly gun shy because of experiments like that. And look at where Erica Henderson is now. She's doing Harley and Ivy at DC. Who else is on that list? Mike Del Mundo has done. No, he's still did something at Marvel recently. Okay, but yeah, some of those people just go to the distinguished competitor.
Totally. Andrew Dunson with a 4.99. Thank you, dude. I'm excited for a superstar artist revival as long as it doesn't tank the industry a la 90s Image. We must have books that are great and ship on time. Well, the revival is separate in the sense that we're seeing the revival happen within the big two space. And what happened with Image was an exodus that had no management skills. These were artists going from being just artists to ownership. And that they didn't know how to do that. I don't think we're going to see that again. I don't think we're going to see that again. We have Ghost Machine, but Ghost Machine has A, the backing of Image, right? B, it has very talented and smart people running it who are not Jeff Johns and Pete Tomasi and all of those other great creators who, for the most part, are allowed to just create.
Yeah, yeah. I think even on from that end, we have alternate sources now, like Kickstarter. We had on Stephen Bissett and Jim Rugg just this past Tuesday, and that's what he's saying. He didn't expect the fanfare to be as big as it was, but now that it is, he has not only a buffer, but he has the ability to kind of do what he wants. And that's something that is new to him, coming from that era of the industry where it was you're tied to Marvel or DC the same way that I'm tied to my health insurance because of my employer. Like he doesn't have to deal with that kind of thing anymore. And that is eye-opening to him as a creator, but it also means that with all of these new creators coming up, they've had that for the past, however many years that Kickstarter's been around. Now they can take advantage of that. You're on mute, Tyler.
Yeah.
I was just miming. Um, think about the '90s though, with the Image founders. There, outside of Dark Horse, there really wasn't a vehicle for creators to do their thing. Besides like DIY, just fucking do it yourself.
Super indie.
Yeah, yeah, like your Elf Quests and your Cerebuses and stuff like that. But we have that now. Like Daniel Warren Johnson can be a superstar and do Murder Falcon. He could do Extremity because there is a vehicle if he wants to work with them in Image. We just talked to Leia Williams about Ignition and how that is a different vehicle to do your thing on another platform and another publisher. And Marco mentioned a Kickstarter. I think there's a lot more avenues to become a superstar or to capitalize on your superstardom that was created elsewhere, that there doesn't need to be another Image founder situation going on.
Yeah, exactly.
Because why would I want to do all that extra work as an artist when I want to create art?
Yeah, 100%. I think that artists, creators being able to just create is it's so important. That's how we get some of the best work we're getting. And look at Daniel Warren Johnson. Daniel Warren Johnson doesn't need a new image to exist for him to be able to
Yep.
display his talents because every publisher would love to have a Daniel Warren Johnson book.
Yeah.
He's choosy because he can be.
At this point, Daniel Warren Johnson can just put out an Instagram post and it goes viral, you know?
Yeah, dude. Huge.
And Andrew Dunson with the 199 says also listen to the direct market deep dive today. I love how much you champion that deep dive, dude. I'm so proud of it, but no one really cares about it. But
Don't say it like that.
there's so much in there that I think
Yeah.
is so relevant today that just for the educational purposes, never mind the views, I think you guys would benefit from hearing it.
Those
Um,
educational, behind the scenes deep dives like that and the Diamond one, I think are the ones you reference the most
Yeah.
yeah,
because
Yeah.
they're the ones that are the most ever relevant.
exactly. Exactly. Now, I want to turn back to Absolute Batman briefly because I do believe that something Tyler said earlier is accurate in that I think that what you want to talk about an Absolute Batman effect. Forget that shit we talked about last week. I think this is more so an Absolute Batman effect where we're
Mm.
seeing um, real avenues for artists to financially benefit and maximize benefits
Yep.
from their art. Here's referring to the Hollywood Reporter article once again. Absolute Batman is now selling consistently 300,000 issues a month, a monster number in the comic book publishing field. Quote, the Absolute Comics have restored faith in the comic industry and retailers alike, says Ryan Leibowitz, the owner of LA's Golden Apple Comics, who said that first-time comic book readers are part of the movement. Quote, we haven't seen anything like this in a long time. And it's not just the comics that are selling. Artists in today's comic industry have new revenue streams that did not exist in prior generations. Signings, which were once gratis, can now be a major moneymaker.
Mm.
Runs of limited editions, variant covers, another. And the biggest is the sale of original art. The original comic art for Dragotta, Johnson, Sherman, and others is selling out as soon as they drop on the online store run by Felix Liu, a former Hollywood assistant turned comic art dealer, and commanding prices that are more in line with classic artists from the 70s and 80s. It is a movement, Liu says. We will look back on this and see this was a special time. Dragotta's cover for Absolute Batman #1 sold for $70,000 in late 2024 when the title was less than a month old. It was a record sale for a modern age cover and would probably sell higher now in light of the title's explosion in popularity.
That is
Amen, bro.
that
That's
was my
crazy.
salary at one point,
Yo.
like off of one piece of paper. Like I know that's diminishing what it is, but that's still insane. Felix would be an interesting person to talk to, actually. Now that I
Yeah,
think
Oh,
about it.
that'd be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
And you know what? To that point, it's I guess ironically, it's also made it a little more difficult to buy art because of that, because of the popularity. Like I'm somebody who has for years collected art, gotten commissions, worked. I've gone through, Felix. I've gone through I'm gonna blank in the other one, a Cadence.
Yeah.
And so the the fact that that is now prohibitive, is one great, but two, damn it, I want my fucking covers cheaper again. Like, what's going on? I want to buy that stuff, bro.
Yeah,
Damn.
now it's in the fine art field that I just complained about to Leah
Oh,
Williams. We're talking
dude.
about voyeur, yeah.
But it's elevated. It's elevated, and I think
Yeah.
that's hugely important, right? We've always, and I'm everybody in the chat has always championed the maturity of what comics are, in terms of how they are as a medium, their artistry, etc. But now that is reaching a mass appeal, at critical mass.
Interesting
Yeah.
point here from disgruntled dev. AI slop has made human art more valuable, ironically.
As it should be.
Huh.
As it should be.
Marco was right the whole time.
I told you guys.
Marco was right, shirt in the shop if you want it.
Um, yeah, I mean the sale, the high price that art is commanding right now in our space specifically is indicative of a change. It's indicative of change because this is not the first Batman #1 that has come out in the last 20 years. And I don't know what Greg Capullo was able to sell his original work for, but this article posits that the 70K that Dragotta was able to sell that cover for was the modern record at the time.
Mm.
So that means, if the article is accurate, that Capullo did not sniff that number, and that was it Janin that started Tom King's run? I
Mikhail Janin.
forget. I
It
forget
was
if it was
Finch. Finch
it was
started the
Finch.
run. Yeah.
Okay. So Finch's artwork, and Finch is one of the most notable artists of the tens and twenties, or the tens and zeros. Um, it's now that we're seeing these kinds of numbers.
And you know what? To that point, nowadays also we've been getting a lot more individual treasury editions. There is a prioritization of art. I have it on the wall. The Batman oversized, treasury with the shiny fucking lenticular cover type thing. That doesn't come out. That doesn't come out without the success of DC, of the success of Ghost Machine, and putting the artist forward. Next, we just need it on the credit. Like that's the next bastion we have to sort of cross.
It looks like, to answer your question earlier, Sean, it looks like Capullo's cover was going for #1 was 50K, and it might be on sale again.
Interesting.
And that's a big
Yeah.
number. That's wonderful. Like, I'm happy for Greg 1000%. But this is a different breed we're
Yeah.
talking about now. And these artists are making so much bank, whether it's variant covers, whether it's going to these shows. I couldn't even see Nick Dragata at New York Comic Con.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally. I tried. I wanted to see him, just to see the guy. Couldn't
Yeah.
see him. He
Yeah.
was so inundated. His line was so crazy. You could not see the man.
Well, he had the same table as DWJ too. And like
That's
Dane
right.
Warren Johnson, he is a roamer at conventions. He's always like, "Oh, I'm not at my table right now." So like that's the only time I was able to see him, when he was walking around. But yeah, those guys were working.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. And you know what? This tide raises all boats. Because even artists like Gavin Guidry, art.com, his pages sell out immediately as well.
Yeah.
And he's been able to make more profit off of it, because his star is rising, but the market for buying art that way, physical art, is also growing.
Which, like, as much as I like it, I always feel bad for the digital artists. You know, like, because there's, what is it called, Marco, when a digital artist can like print out a specific one of one.
Oh,
And
they just do a print run.
yeah, but like they could do this. There's a word for it, for like a specific page that they only print that one of, to essentially mimic the original page.
Oh, I'm not sure. See,
But
this is why the idea, hold
no,
on.
no. Oh,
This is why the idea of NFT was
Oh my
also put into
God.
play.
Oh,
Oh,
hell no, man. What the fuck,
be-
man? Get
Why
your
couldn't I be late
ass
for
on,
this?
boy. You get your goddamn
Damn,
ugly
that's just
ass.
long, bro.
I'm only gonna play the long ones whenever you talk now.
Be- because that was the idea, was can we create a marketplace for digital first? It didn't pan out the way we would. All right. It didn't pan out the way we wanted it.
Lock
But
them up. Lock them up.
damn it,
It's funny shit, man.
My soundboard is just anti-Marco. It's just to filibuster you when you're trying to talk your AI bullshit.
Kurt Wildshut says, could we see people come in from other art fields to get a piece of the variant pie? People from fine art, illustration, marketing design.
Name me someone in fine art. And I would argue a lot of those people are already there. You know, we think of like concept artists. Fucking Jack Kirby was. You know, what's his face? One of your favorites, Sean, did Invisible Republic.
Gabriel Hardman.
Gabriel Hardman did concept art. I feel like I think it was in the Leia Williams chat, but somebody mentioned how there's a lot of artists now in comics that are in the fashion, who come from the fashion background. You know, like a Lucas Wernick and stuff like that, who work on like I think who've done fashion design in comics, which is awesome.
oh, Ted H.
Was it this chat? Okay.
Ted H. here is correct. It's a 1 out of 1. It's a monoprint. So you take that
Monoprint.
singular
Yeah,
and
I
then
got
you
mono
put it up.
before. Yeah.
Okay.
Unreal. Yeah, I feel like there is a possibility for that, Kurt. We lost artists
Yeah.
to other fields because the money wasn't there. And I haven't personally heard anything about artist page rates going up, but what we see is a diversification in the way that artists can financially benefit from what they do. So is it Valentine Delandro? Is that am I getting that right? I want to say it's Delandro who left comics to go do the Spider-Man animated show over on Disney
Leonardo
Plus.
Romero.
That's what it
Thank you.
was.
Thank
Yes.
you. Leonardo Romero. He left Birds of Prey and he left comics to go and do that because the money was better.
Yeah.
And because that's where he really like feeds his family from.
Yeah.
Even Jamie McKelvey, you know, does a little on the side where he does concert posters. He did one for Tegan and Sarah and Churches, which I have on a t-shirt, which is fucking rad. But I love Churches. Churches is so good. You got to find a way to see them live, Sean. They're
I would love
amazing
to.
live. Yeah. But like he's done a lot of stuff for that, which is like that is a different form of similar to comic art, but it's not. And there, you know, a lot of actual comic artists do like Mondo print concert art and stuff like that.
Mm. Kurt Welsh brings up another good point here. The big one on my mind is Tom Mueller, a brand
Yes.
designer who now makes his own variant covers for things. Yeah, who did do some art, but now has leaned directly into design. And it's another smart play because you have to have design on a comic book, right?
Yep.
It's another form that we don't think about all the time, just because it works so well.
And having looked into him for reasons, he's
Yo.
expensive and he's making money off
Yeah.
of it. So
Exactly.
Kudos, bro.
Exactly. It's exciting to me. This is all exciting to me because I've never wanted artists to not be popular and be superstars. I've always wanted that to be the case. We just haven't had it until now. And what that means to me is that it opens the door for artists, people
Yeah.
who want to be artists, who want to make comics, but financially just couldn't see it being viable to now say, oh, yeah, I want to try my hand at that. We have gotten quite a few writers that way.
Yeah.
We've gotten quite a few writers that way. Let's get some artists like that. Let's get these artists that are coming from different places with different mentalities. Who's the artist from Dawn Runner, please?
that's Evan Cagle.
Evan Cagle is a great example. Evan Cagle came from concept work,
Yep.
I believe, and he was doing the covers only for Detective Comics. And then Ron V was like, "No, you need to do interiors."
Yeah.
And now people celebrate his interiors. He came from somewhere else.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That unorthodox translation of art is where it's been making money. Felipe Andrade is another one who like works in fine art, fine materials, but pivoted into the comic book art. All that stuff with New Gods, really just experimentation.
And we're seeing some of those people who were kind of like got not shunned away, but they got pushed away because of comics not paying well. Um, come back in the writing sphere. Think of like Matt Fraction, who's back writing Batman, which surprised the hell out of me when it was announced because
Mm.
I thought that guy was like he was doing TV. He's doing the whole MonsterVerse thing for Apple, the Godzilla type shit. Oh God, I've been in the Discord too long. But put ketchup on my food.
Oh,
And no, I won't. And I'm curious if we'll see some of the artists that might have been, kind of pushed away. Hardman is back at DC. Hardman was one of those guys that went away for a bit. Gabriel Hardman. He's doing that Green Arrow Batman question book, which
Oh,
is
that's right. Yeah.
good ass book by the way. But like somebody mentioned Chris Anka had gone to do the Spider-Verse movies. Chris Anka is an artist I think could have a chance to do something really crazy good to like really boost his notoriety in this kind of the space we are in comics right now, for artists specifically. Like if Chris Anka was on an Ignition book, I think that would draw people to it.
Yep. Easily.
Or like
Easily.
Chip is bigger now. If they brought White Trees back, Chris Anka and Chip did White Trees, which was like a 3-issue thing. It could be huge.
dude, what do you think drove more people to Transformers?
Hmm.
Was it Daniel Warren Johnson or Robert Kirkman? I say Johnson.
Yeah. Even when we got the announcement that Kirkman was back on the book, I was like, oh, that's a step down. That's a step down for me in terms of like seeing something different.
Mm.
It's not a negative, like it's Kirkman. I'm gonna have fun with it, but at least I it would be something a little more surprising to me with DWJ.
Well, but the Dan Mora announcement was probably the bigger splash between the two. The Robert
Sure.
Kirkman is the bigger entity, but Dan Mora was the thing that we popped for.
Yeah, and
Mm.
and when you talk about IP comics, one of the first things I think of is that the art will be bad.
Yes.
One of the first things, because that's always how it was. And so when Daniel Warren Johnson was announced for Transformers, it's like, wait, oh, so this is a real thing. They're
Yep.
actually really trying to do something with this. So
Yeah.
I'm a fuck with it then. Because
That's
you
where
went and got someone real.
that's where I knew Kirkman was cooking. And like maybe I should not have ever doubted him. Like that's one of those guys that I can safely put my faith in terms of comics is Robert Kirkman. But once they announced that, he was writing and drawing it too. It was like they were like fucking have the reins. And then when I got to interview Daniel Warren Johnson about Transformers, he was like, "No, this is my baby. This is what I grew up with." And just seeing that was just like that made me a Transformers fan. Years of movies with fucking Megan Fox and Shia LaBeouf did nothing. Megan Fox did nothing in comparison to Daniel Warren Johnson's effect in Transformers for me.
Listen, Megan Fox had I transformed due to her, I'll tell you that. Yep.
Oh,
Shaun
that's
of
a
the
good one.
Zipping.
You gotta get, that on the soundboard.
Yeah, no, I'll just make the sound. Yeah.
Yeah.
Figure drawing, who always lights up when we have conversations about art, says, well, what is a superstar artist in your estimation? Are these all superstars? And he goes on to list Dan Mora, Jorge Jimenez, Bruno Redondo, Pepe Larraz, Marco Cicchetto, and then he says, also, are you guys discounting strictly cover artists? In my mind, no, we're not discounting
No.
cover artists. I think that is a big part of what is driving this, and cover artists are benefiting and becoming superstars in their own right. Are all of the artists, sorry?
I was gonna say, Alex Ross has historically
Oh,
been, the cover artist guy.
League of His Own, really.
Yeah, yeah.
But are all the people you listed superstars? I don't know that I consider Bruno Redondo
No, not.
and Marco Cicchetto on the same tier of superstar as Jimenez, Mora, and I would say Larraz as well, though his star has kind of fallen just a little bit.
Mm.
But yeah, yes, I do feel that way about that.
I think it also helps though that the people we're calling superstars are also very visible as creators. They put themselves out there. You know, Nick Dragotta was just on comic book couples counseling. They have In the Stacks on their YouTube, which is the thing I wanted to do for so long, but I'm glad somebody's doing it. It's essentially the Criterion Closet for comic books. And Dragotta was on there, and he's like covered in wall-to-wall comic books and picks out his favorites that he talks about. I think Dragotta, like Danny Moore Johnson, is on podcasts. He is on. He does interviews and stuff like that. And I think Jimenez is as well. Well, Jimenez just needs to post a picture of himself, and that's good enough for most people. Man, him and never mind. I can't say that after I said Megan Fox does nothing for me. The allegations will be coming. But that I think lends to that superstardom, because like when we talk about 90s superstardom, and I know it's a joke, but Liefeld was doing Levi's ads. They were doing stuff outside of the art that made them recognizable as people and creators. And like that's where like I don't know what Marco Cicchetto looks like. I'm not saying you need to be a face like a front facing person to be a superstar creator, but I think I am saying that.
But even I think an artist like Dan Mora, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't have many interviews at all. In fact, I just looked it up. Our interview with him at New York Comic Con 5 months ago is the first result, and the
Because of
one
your
thing
algorithm.
but also like in the past X time frame, right? Like the after that, there is maybe another one within a year. So he definitely doesn't make the rounds. It is purely off the back of his work, and the little minions he has potentially that help output. It is output.
And I think more specifically the volume of his art
Right.
definitely
Yeah.
helps him.
Yeah.
It's everywhere.
Steve Canaris says what I believe and what I agree with is the only way to judge is do they move the needle of sales. If Mora's on Firestorm, does it sell more copies? Yes, absolutely yes. We are currently right now in a space where if you put certain names, certain artist names on titles, that book will sell better. And I do believe Dan Mora is one of those names. I think that you can tell that by the fact that they paid Dan Mora to go do Transformers. Transformers does not need Dan Mora to sell, but it helps. He's able to bring in all the people who buy whatever he does. I buy every Dan Mora book. 1000%. If I know
Yeah.
Dan Mora's art's going to be a book, I'm buying it. If I know Pepe Larraz's art is in a book, I'm buying it. I buy books with certain artists in them that I don't even want to fucking read sometimes because of how great these artists are right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I would never have done that before.
I think there is also something to that of the way that they're digested, like the way that the art is being digested by the reader. Because for my money, a Jesse Lonergan compared to a Dan Mora, I feel like I'm eating better on a Jesse Lonergan book from a functionality perspective. But the shiny brightness of Dan Mora, I think attracts the eye, and it does move the needle in that way, in a way that Jesse doesn't necessarily. But both are in different, for me, classes of art.
You're talking about like a seared tofu versus a burger. You know what I mean? Guys, I'm hungry.
Yeah.
The food allergies are coming.
Yeah.
But like both of those are good, but it's just wildly different flavor.
Right.
Munster NA says to be a superstar artist, you have to do interiors. Derek Chu, Art German artists in that lane have a ceiling if you're selling covers alone. I don't think I agree with that.
Mark Brooks doesn't do interiors right now.
Yeah.
And I would consider Mark Brooks a superstar. Even though like I don't know what Mark Brooks looks like, that dude is perpetually online on the internet. He's kind of, I mean this lovingly. He's kind of what's the best word to put it?
Liberal.
And like he is outspoken on Twitter and threads and all that stuff. So he's putting himself out there in a different avenue. that I think lends him to like name recognition. And then his art is also in that same avenue, so that there's a parody there.
Russell Dauterman.
Yep.
I think
Yeah.
Art Germ is massive. Art Germ is huge.
Is
Alex
Archer one
Ross.
person?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
Well, and you know what? Actually, to that point, we go to Comic-Con, there are booths where there are just artists that do prints, that just do design on an Instagram page, and they're getting those booths are blowing up compared to
Yeah.
an actual comic artist that is doing interiors. So really, it is the design aspect and the popularity and style of the art. So yeah, I also disagree that the interiors or sorry, you have to do interiors in order to be that superstar.
Yeah.
And even if you go below superstar, right? Like let's say you want to go below that. Kyle makes a great point. Rose Besh doesn't do interiors and her rates are crazy because she does beautiful work. There are a lot of people like that too.
Yes.
That maybe you don't know Rose Besh, right? But when she puts out something, it commands. I pulled the Rose Besh Daredevil variant
Fucking
cover,
lucky.
one of
Lucky.
100.
Damn, I
Why
wanted that.
why was her book, why was her cover the one of 100?
Yeah, the other chase ones were Casada, you know. Yeah, that's got a point.
What does that mean
Yeah.
to you? To me, that means they value her on that caliber.
Yep. Yeah, there were artists that were like just exclusively comic book cover art. I think of fucking when's the last time Delato did an interior?
Oh,
Who knows, man?
fuck, I
That's
need that
wow.
back. It's
But
been
like
so long.
anytime there is a cover of a Delato cover, that is appointment, you know. Um I'm thinking of I had it and then I lost it. Who was it? Shit. Never mind. I lost it. But yeah. There's a lot of artists out there that are kind of at this point, whether they've done interiors before or not, strictly cover artists at this point.
Yep. Yep. It's their bread and butter. It's their jam.
Even like shit. He did Venom. Uh he did X-Men with Jim McKay. Fuck, who's the artist?
Oh, David Marquez.
No, Stegman.
Oh,
Stegman.
Stegman. Yes.
Oh,
Stegman's
Stegman.
doing a lot of cover work lately. More than his interior work. So seeing that as well, it's like there's some lucrative because also a cover page will sell infinitely more than an interior page.
And you know what? I think the other thing that is being allowed in the space is art transformation from the same artist. We've talked about, like what Jorge Jimenez looked like with Super Sons to where he is now. I think one of the things that you guys had called out was Steve McNiven on was it A Cold Day in Hell, and how that art was such a
Yeah.
transformation. But the industry is in a space where that's okay, allowed, and almost encouraged.
And if you remember, he was writing that too with
Yeah,
Charles Soule, but I believe it was mostly a McNiven piece.
yeah,
And I
beautiful
love
there.
that book. Yeah.
Dude, I agree with Close here, who's breaking Lurk today. I love that. Says biggest pet peeve being lured in by amazing art on the cover only to find a different style inside. I totally agree with that.
Mm,
That's that contract breaking that Sean always talks about.
Yeah, it feels like a bait and switch in a lot of
Yeah.
cases, but I think that, you know, even that says a lot about where we are with art because that has not always been the case where the artist on the interiors was different than the cover artist. They are now in a place where they're trying to use artists who aren't even on the book to help sell the book.
yeah, yeah.
On the cover A, fuck a variant.
Yeah.
It makes it. I guess it also kind of makes the cover a separate art piece as well. Because for a while, a Alex Ross A cover on a Fantastic Four, that shit's rad. He's not doing the interiors, but there's a consistency to that. There's a level of collectability to that.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree. I think this is a hard point to argue against. And I'm excited to see what the future holds because I genuinely believe we haven't even like touched the bottom in terms of like how much artists can command our attention, how they can, reinvigorate this industry. I think a lot of what is causing the buzz right now is artist forward, and I think that's been the missing piece. We
Mhm.
have the writing. Writing in comics is, in my opinion, as good as or better than it's ever been. Now we've got the art side.
And I also expect to see a lot more. Like I know we talk about the collaboration aspect of comics, but I also expect to see a lot more artist writer combos going forward. Just singular visions, almost like the American mangakas.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And as you guys know, we are always, always, always appreciating the art in these books. When we do pals pulls, we're not just talking about the words, we're talking about the pictures too, because that is what makes a comic. It's the fusion.
Yep.
And I'm glad that as a community, we are once again appreciating incredible artwork. Beautiful.
Now, if only I could draw.
Entertain Me actually asked earlier, he was like, well, Sean, I know you hate your own artwork. And he wanted to know, Marco and Tyler, how you feel about what you guys do when you draw.
The only things I liked drawing as a kid was essentially what Beneath the Trees is. I liked drawing anthropomorphized animals. Like that was the thing I would do. Was that in Pokemon? I'm not an artist. If
Yeah,
I were
same.
ever to do anything artistic, it would be font design because I'm a font nerd.
Yeah, I can't draw. I've been trying to learn. And the most I do now is I slice up comics because
Ugh!
that art looks good and I can put it together in different ways.
I I didn't know that I was making comics when I was a little kid. I was making Pokemon fanfics in my notebooks for
Mm.
school because school was easy and I was bored, and I loved it. I still have a lot of those notebooks with my old, Charizard versus Squirtle drawings.
Oh, it's one-sided. Did you have a favorite Pokemon that you drew all the time?
Squirtle.
Mine was Dragonair. I love drawing Dragonair.
Oh, interesting.
It's when I
I'm a
could
big Dragonite guy.
the ears I could do from memory. You know, like the wings. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I like the was it Poliwhirl? I like the drawing the
Made me
tummy.
dizzy. Made me dizzy.
Figure Drawing wants to know, Tyler, if you're a fan of Black Sad.
Yeah, I am. Never played
We
the
all
game
are.
though. We did a book club on Black Sad about like 2
That's
years
right.
ago. Yeah, you can
Yeah.
check it out. Somebody just checked it out recently. I think I saw a comment on it recently.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, we have a lot more show to do. You guys have been amazing so far. You got us through our goal in 30 fucking minutes. Round of applause for yourselves. We need an applause on the soundboard so we can give applause to the audience.
Nope.
Whoops.
That's
Damn
a
it.
laugh track.
Laugh
Wrong
track,
one.
which we do need occasionally.
Oops.
Yeah, so we've got so much more show to do. Hopefully you guys will stick around and chill with us. I am in a great mood this morning. I have had a wonderful week, and that makes me feel good. So you guys will be the beneficiaries of my good mood. Let's talk about the theme of the month.
Ooh.
Let's talk about Street Level Marvel, which we are putting the spotlight on. Oh my God. Marco just sent through a message that was a
What?
showstopper. I could not
What do you
stay
what
on
do you-
track.
What do you say?
This is for the next Leia Williams interview.
Um, we're gonna do a book club based on what you guys decide is the best
Oh.
street level Marvel book. Now, I've been on vacation, so I wasn't able to get the thread up, but we will get it up on Patreon. I'll get it up today as soon as we're done here. And you guys who are our patrons are going to vote. Chat is killing me right now.
Yeah, you were
Oh my
gone for
God.
too long. They had so much material on you.
Apparently so. I hate to leave you guys. My least favorite thing to do is miss a show. I love being here with you guys.
It
And the only thing that makes it easy is that I know that Tyler and Marco have it. That's the only thing.
I mean, I thought it was kind of rude of you, Sean, when right before the Stephen Bissett interview, you were like, "Hold on, I gotta go get some milk," and then like you were just gone for a bit, and I thought that was a little fucked up. I'll be honest. I don't mean to air it out in front of everyone, but I thought it was a little fucked up.
Um, Andrew Dunson popped me. He said, "I love African American sad."
Yeah.
Oh my
Favorite book.
God. And that's what I love so much about this community too. You read that shit and you weren't here for the episode where we were riffing on that, and that makes no sense to you. Like that's how deep we are in lore as it relates to this show. Um, but yeah, in celebration of street level Marvel, we are doing our top five. We're doing our top five street level characters without any spider people.
Yeah,
No
Right.
spider people allowed. So today we're going to do our 4 and 3s.
I'll go.
My
Oh, Marco will go.
my number 4 is Moon Knight. This is and particularly I'm thinking of the Warren Ellis, Declan Shalvey, Jordan Belair run. One of the first solo, like by myself, not as part of the show, books that I read within Marvel and also within this character. And it really holds a special place because it felt very much like at the time for me, I was like, oh, this is like a digest Batman, but it transformed my perspective on
Fuck, that's
who
rude.
on who Moon Knight was there, followed by the later arc with Cullen Bunn. Brian Wood was later on it, and then of course when we get to Jeff Lemire. So Moon Knight's a lot of fun. My number 4, my number 3 is Patsy Walker, Hellcat. That was a
Oh,
the trying to remember the hold on, I just closed this tab. The last uh run on this, I'm forgetting who it was, but that was my introduction to the character. Very silly, very goofy, and I just appreciated the light nature of the book. So yeah, that was my number 3.
I'll go. My number 4 is Jessica Jones. Jessica Jones is one of those characters that it's just like it's such the darling child of a creator, and it just you can tell that her creation from Brian Michael Bendis was kind of key to who she is as a character, and I think she fills a really niche spot in the street level world that only she fills. We have a plenty of strong female characters that are, your Spider-Womans, your Captain Marvels and all that. But the street level was kind of needing one outside of like the pulpy ones like Misty Knight or Colleen Wing that I think Jessica really slotted into. And it was really cool seeing how Bendis kind of saw a need for her there and filled it. And I think she's great. And I love pretty much everything that she's been in since. My number 3. Are we doing 3 as well? Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is my boy Howard the Duck.
Dang.
Howard the Duck's one of my favorite comic book characters, and this guy from Duck World gets sent to Earth, and he essentially becomes a private eye, or he has little wacky adventures here and there. Again, anthropomorphized animal. I'm a fucking sucker for it, and the Chip Zdarsky run is near and dear to my heart for what it does. I think that was some of the early Chip work that really showed that he can just play with emotions really well without just being the funny guy. Sure, those books are goofy and they're funny and they're in the vein of like Squirrel Girl at the time or like a Gwenpool, but there are some issues that are like kick you in the balls, emotional, and I just like that dichotomy between like this is a goofy fucking duck character. It's Donald Duck with pants, so not a criminal, and we're gonna tell a story about like romance with him. We're gonna tell a story about loss with him, and I just love that kind of stuff.
I just wanted to shout out the creators for that Patsy Walker Hellcat book. That's Kate Leth and Brittany Williams
Oh.
on art.
That was a really fun one. I'd
Yeah.
recommend Christopher Cantwell's Iron Man run.
I just saw it on
Yeah.
the chat as well. Yeah.
And Stuart Immonen drew a Hellcat book as well.
Oh,
My number 4 is Elektra.
Ooh.
Elektra Nachios is one of the most like visually arresting characters in comics. It's not just that she's sexy. It's that there's something about her that's alluring. Like you want to risk it all. You're scared of her, but you're also drawn in by her. It's the long hair, it's the I believe she's Greek
Greek,
or
yeah.
yeah, she's Greek. Yep.
it's those Greek features that are so prominent in her face. You know, again, her iconic hair, her size. One of my favorite runs in the 2010s was actually the Mike Del Mundo and Hayden Blackman Elektra series.
Yes.
So underrated, but my God, was it so good. I really loved, of course, when Elektra became Daredevil during the Chip Zdarsky, Marco Cicchetto run. And I feel like the design, like they struck gold once again with her design. Reinventing her for the modern era with a slick look that infuses Daredevil with her traditional costume that I just thought was brilliant. I feel like Elektra is a character who could stand alone, and she has at times in spaces. And I think that she's a character that creators can do a lot of great work with. So I hope we get more of her, but she's my number 4.
Here's a good question from Hayden's Hideout. Sean, where does she rank
I
on the
don't
Snow
know
Bunny
if
tier list? And actually, a better question: is she a Snow Bunny? Hold on a second.
It's
Yes, she is.
Okay.
She is. She is white. And
why
where
would
does she
some
rank?
people say person of color of Greek?
I don't say that. I say you gotta,
Okay.
come
Okay.
on.
Low.
I beg your pardon.
And where does she rank, dude? I don't know. That's Patreon talk, brother.
Yeah, we have another ranking scheduled anyway. So
Oh my God.
that was co-signed by Leia, Sean. That is not just us throwing it out there.
She said yes.
What?
She said yes to that.
No, there needs to be a definitive ranking of the characters that are good at cunnilingus. Daredevil, Spider-Man are up there. I maintain Doctor Strange is bottom because he's a hands guy.
Yeah.
Reed Richards.
Here's the thing.
Ooh.
I think he might be stroke king, but he's too in his head. He's gonna get down there and he's gonna overthink it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think he has the physical capabilities, but he's too up in there.
He's
What
calculating
that
too
mouth
much.
do? Are you kidding me? He can stretch his whole body.
And I don't think I think he can. He's just not good at it.
I see. That's not the part that he's stretching.
Here's the thing, though. Elongated man, king.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so we'll have to wait for Leah Williams for me to get into that. But oh yeah, my number 3 is the Punisher.
Major distracted.
I have so many things going on. The Punisher is my number 3. I think that the Punisher is a controversial figure and for good reason. It should make you feel uncomfortable that a character like the Punisher exists. And it does make me feel uncomfortable. But what it also does is it reminds me that these universes that we love to read about are essentially people playing cops and robbers. And Punisher's not playing games. Punisher will kill you. And he's crazy. And I love the fact that the heroes acknowledge that he's crazy and dangerous, but there's also an element of them, a secret part that they hate, that recognizes the necessity of the Punisher.
Yeah.
That he can do things that they can't do. And I specifically think about Spider-Man and Daredevil. Everybody who's seen Daredevil season 2, of course, recalls the dynamic between Punisher and Daredevil that was so intrinsic and interesting. And I love the idea that the Punisher is Daredevil or Spider-Man pushed over the edge, or Captain America, or really any of those kinds of heroes who shy away from murder or like critical injury, and believe in justice. Punisher believes in justice, but he believes that he is the one who can determine what justice looks like, and he believes in capital punishment. He can decide that, and that's wrong, but sometimes it's right.
The whole time I'm thinking like Punisher. Yeah, he's not on that tier list.
He was my first choice.
Wait for the for the
Oh,
eater
I
list.
was still
That's
talking about the eater
so
list. Yeah,
funny.
I was talking about the eater list. Yeah.
I think he's somewhere in the middle.
No,
'cause,
he's
you know,
he's Volcel.
I don't know what that is.
Voluntarily celibate.
Oh,
Isn't that an incel?
No, incel's involuntarily celibate, and they're angry about it. They're saying I can't fuck, and it's the world's fault.
I see.
Volcel says I can't fuck, but I recognize that, and that's just not my bag.
Someone lied to me. Someone recently told me incel stood for or meant that you were celibate because you wanted to be.
No, it's involuntarily. That's why they're assholes.
Wow. Right. Nobody wants to fuck them.
Yeah.
according to
Oh.
them. According
Like
to them.
I would fuck if I could, but the world doesn't want. The world is stopping me from fucking.
That's right. That's right.
That's sad, dude.
Right? That's a sad mentality. Learn to eat.
Yeah. Superjob says, I think Punisher is lame as fuck. Okay.
I mean, yeah.
Sure.
I like him better
I'm
when he was
into-
part of the Hand and he had that cool logo.
I was so happy. I watched the fucking Punisher One Last Kill trailer, man, and I was so happy to see that logo back, bro. They tried to do my man dirty. They replaced him.
People were like, "This isn't Palace After Dark. It's too early for this shit. Get used to it."
Come on, now After Dark. Do you watch this on Saturdays? Easy Bake Lovin' says, hear me out. Doctor Strange would actually be higher on the ranks for good head from trying to keep his hands safe from any potential injury.
Oh, he's such a hands guy. He doesn't use them.
Oh, that's a good
Oh,
point.
interesting.
That's a good point.
We do have that mustache too.
Easy Bake is always thinking. She's on point. Take her word for it. Mr. Alkebulan says, y'all need to talk some indies. Not saying y'all don't, just found this page. Well, brother, we literally just finished interviewing Leah Williams, primarily about her indie stuff at Ignition Press. We love indies. And if you watch our show, Pals Pulls or Pals Previews, we talk about indie comics. And I feel like here on the main show, we're always trying to talk indie comics. But you seem to want us to talk about Black indie comics creators. And if that's what you want, we'll probably have an announcement that will tickle your willy.
Whoa!
In a couple weeks.
What tickle your willy? What the?
Wet your whistle.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
And you know what? You're joining us. You're joining us alongside Close 22, which also said earlier, new to this space, glad for the algorithm gods. So welcome to both of y'all.
Yep.
Hell yeah. I'm not going to belabor it, but I had a great time in Michigan. It's actually a beautiful place. It's super fun. I had incredible company. I had the time of my life. I missed you guys terribly. But it's hard to it's hard to miss you guys too much when you're having the kind of time that I was having.
What the hell are you doing in Michigan? God damn, this dude's a fucking
Was wetting my willy.
damn.
Whoa,
he was.
hey,
He
yo,
was.
hey, yo.
Damn.
Yes, Dan, I was in Michigan and I did think of you. I did,
Oh,
but it
okay,
wasn't the
good.
kind
I was
of-
starting to put pieces together. That was a little
Can
concerned.
you imagine?
As a married man.
Yes, Dan, but I had a mission that unfortunately did not involve seeing all my buddies. World at War Comics says, "Hello, everyone. Hope you are all having a great weekend." Thank you. Thank you, brother. What part of Michigan? Uh, uh, I don't know that I don't know if I want to say. Well, who would care? What would it matter? Ypsilanti? Ypsilanti?
Okay.
Jet X says that I should go to Ohio next. If you thought Michigan was cool, you'll think Ohio is pretty lame in comparison, and I can't really blame you. You're not selling it terribly well. So I think I'll pass.
That's funny.
Southside Ronan says $30 ounces in Michigan. Can confirm.
I thought you were
Um,
I thought you were in Michigan campaigning for Abdullah Sayed, and I was like, hell yeah, Sean. But
who the hell is that?
they're okay. All right. Well,
Clayton Bergstrom says, went down to Michigan to hunt some bunnies. Yes, I felt like Elmer Fudd.
damn.
I
You hunt.
was Predator. There
Whoa,
was
whoa, whoa,
prey.
whoa, 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 whoa! No, 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 no.
Not that kind of prey. I don't
No.
have an island, Tyler.
Wait, no, no, Sean. Sometimes you gotta think about it before it comes out.
Oh, why not?
You can't say
Why?
I was Predator.
What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that?
What he was he just
Knocking the
did
coins out
name.
of people. God damn.
Oh my God. Love you guys. Love you guys. All right. Enough about me and my exploits. Let's go back to you guys. We've got a couple Patreon pal questions to dive into, and we only have limited Marco time. So why don't we run through these, shall we?
I got from Red Spiral Storm. Has there ever been a comic panel that just has thrown you off unexpectedly? Hmm.
Yeah, yes. I specifically thrown me off in the sense that like shocked me. No, not really. Saga constantly did it actually, but I just don't know of one specifically because it was so ever present. But I do have in my phone when I read comics, I sometimes screenshot um the more wilder panels and I have like a comics out of context thing in here and then like
That's
other
cool.
panels I find out of context that are funny. But the one I'm thinking of is and it's pretty iconic. It's it was in Hitman. Ennis's Hitman. And it's Bueno Excelente. And it's just this guy, he's gross and he's sweaty and he's in like a tank top. I had to go through all the names of tank top and find the non-problematic one. Um and he's just going bueno. And like he's just it's gross. And the context of the thing is it's a disgusting book. But that's the one that always jumps out to me. And I definitely recommend Hitman, even though it is like not it wouldn't happen these days. If anyone ever wants me to post some of the panels that I have, I don't I have it here, but it's I don't know if you can see it. It's the page from Swamp Thing
Oh my God.
where Abby is eating the fruit
The tuber.
and it's just like Swamp Thing. Like this is
But
the dome thing is what's going on here. It's like not even subtle what's going on here. And
he's pushing
his
her head down.
yeah, I know. Yeah. He's I'm gonna there was a let's go back to Voyeur real quick. There's one line the character says where she says, "Until my throat remembers the curve."
That was crazy.
And
That was crazy.
I was like,
Woo!
yes.
Woo!
that's what's happening in this.
Yo, that's great. That was a great page.
You know that gif of person writing fire? I was like writing fire, this one.
Yo, you got to start that. Put that in one of the Quiet Council threads. We'll just out of context.
I've like
panels.
probably 100 of them. Yeah.
Start tossing them in there. Mine is one that I've talked about in the past. It's in Providence. There's this one page turn at the end of a book, at the end of one of the issues that genuinely gave me chills. I was reading the book in the basement at my parents' house, on the couch, just kind of like reading. I had to put it down, and you know when you get that like that nagging fear, like that's like sits behind you. That's what I felt with that.
Um, my answer is I have two. The first one is in Civil War when Nitro explodes.
Ooh, yeah.
And when you turn the page and you see the heroes in the rubble standing over it, I'd never seen anything even remotely close to that. And as a New Yorker, it's very different, but it made me think of 9/11. Um,
Oh yeah, I forgot about
and it was horrifying to me, but I loved it.
that. Whoa.
Um,
Oh, okay.
and then also issue 31 of New Avengers. I will not say what happens in that. Don't look it up. If you don't know what happens in that, someone is killed. And Marco, don't look it up. And
Ah,
there's something about that person's death that has cascades for years. And for me, that was one of the biggest shockers in comics.
do you have that issue, Sean, physically?
Oh, yeah, of course.
That Lanil you cover too? Ooh.
Yes,
Ooh.
yes. Absolutely. Um, Justin, aka Hyper Viper 89. I gotta send your package out, brother. Oh, seeing your name reminded me. I'll get that out to you, dude. He says, if you're ever in Detroit, check out Vault of Midnight. Very cool comic shop. I actually went there. I went
Hey.
there. I bought a lot of comics. I spent more than my stack would have cost. I didn't get my stack this week, but I did
Oh,
spend a
damn.
grip at that store. And the only thing I actually got for myself was this.
Oh,
Yes,
dude.
he's getting drome in Michigan. This is what he was talking about the whole time. This is what he was alluding to. It's just
Yep.
this callback bit. There we go.
I got Drome. I picked up Drome by Jesse
Yes.
Lonergan.
Have you read it yet?
I mean, I just got it 2 days ago.
Okay.
I haven't read it yet, but I am excited to check it out. I've been looking for it. My LCS ran out. So when I saw it there, I was like, yo, must buy. I
Yeah.
also hooked up who I was with Absolute Martian Manhunter and Absolute Wonder Woman.
Nice.
So yeah.
Oh,
Hell
good
yeah.
choices. Good
I
choices.
I
You're
got
not doing a lonely at the center of the earth like I do. Different strokes, different
Tyler,
folks.
Tyler, I did.
there you go.
I also did.
Hell yeah.
And I brought you up when I did.
There
I
we
said
go.
this is the Tyler special.
The method.
Yes,
Good.
the Tyler method. Okay. We have another Patreon pal question. We're doing two this week.
Is from Entertain Me. Is DC really killing Marvels in sales? The top 50 for March has a lot of the absolute comics, but outside of those, only four new number ones, Batman, Superman, and JLU, made the top 50. Wonder Woman, Flash, Nightwing, Titans, Supergirl, Batgirl, Detective Comics, Action Comics, Green Lantern, Green Lantern Corps, Catwoman, Poison Ivy, Harley Quinn, Aquaman, World's Finest, JSA didn't make the top 50. Some of these are DC flag comics, and not making top 50 doesn't look good. Or does the fact that the Absolute line is doing great, that these mainline DC comic sales are these DC comic sales don't matter? So I think and I think we've talked about it in the past, the Absolute line, the sales there, it being such a juggernaut is allowing
Yeah.
for the other books to be sustained at these lower quantities. And so the fact that they're not in the top 50, I think has more to say about the total volume of sales compared to Absolute and the fact of their success. They're riding that wave.
The good thing about sales numbers is that they're numbers. And even if Absolute Batman alone is big enough to make DC the highest seller, DC's the highest seller, you know?
Yeah. I think that look, I'm looking right now at ICV2's charts for the month of March, which we're about to talk about, and we might as well just shift into it.
Yep.
Daredevil number one outsold Batman and everything else. I think it was Bleeding Cool suggests that it was 3 times as much Daredevil number one to Batman number 8, which is a massive number. Of course, that is just for that week,
Yeah.
that specific week in which those books dropped. So while Daredevil was number one that week and owned the week, when you look at ICV2.com, it tells a different story because DC's Superman Spider-Man number one at $7.99 owned the month. And when you look at the top 10, here we go. You've got Daredevil, of course, at number 2. Number 3 is Batman 18. 4 is Batman 7. 5 is DCKO 5. 6 is Marvel Team Up number 14, Facsimile Edition, which is not a Marvel comic. That is the Spider-Man and Invincible Team Up. 7 is Lobo. 8 is Superman. 9 is Spider-Man. And 10 is Wonder Woman. So what you see there is you see that although Marvel had a big one in Daredevil, the majority of these are DC titles still.
Yep.
And, look, I'm with you. I understand what you mean in that a lot of the darlings that we celebrate are not in those upper echelons of the top 20s. But so what? Right? Because you also have the absolute books that are doing amazing. I'm looking at this list and I see Deathstroke is in the top 20. Whenever would a Deathstroke book really be in this space? When would a Martian Manhunter book be in the top 20?
That's a big
That's
one.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
That's a good
Deathstroke
point.
at least makes sense because they're number ones, and those are always going to be a bump. But like you're right. There's no world where you could have told me, let alone 3 years ago, that a Martian Manhunter book would be in the top 20 best-selling comics.
Regularly.
I would have been like, you fucking stupid, and then I'd kick you in the shin.
And I'd steal your lunch money.
No, that's too far. I'm not a bully.
And by the way, I just want to point out number 21, just outside the top 20, Dork number 2.
Hey, let's go.
Damn.
The only one of all of these spec books that y'all keep telling me are fucking selling like hotcakes. It's the only one on this list with a number 2. And by the way, issue 1, number 49. Current print.
Oh, wow. Damn. Still in the top 50.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Are these, is this a surprise to you at all? Are you guys surprised by the fact that Daredevil, with all its blind bags and everything else, all the hype, that it came second to Superman, Spider-Man?
No, I think this is unfortunately this is what happens when the overall sentiment of a company affects the individual sales of a title. The blind bags were a boost. The new creative team, the new number one, all of these things are meant to be boosts. But when I feel like the readership is down on said publisher, it affects everything. It affects overall sales, especially on a thing, because this was a book that was pumping it was hitting all the buttons. It's new creator, new number one, blind bags. That's supposed to sell. That's a formula that should, and it didn't.
And also synergizing with the TV show.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, it sold amazing.
Yeah, it did really well. Like Daredevil did its job.
It just didn't perform better than the Spider-Man Superman team up book, which to me is like, duh. Like I would be worried if any book overtook that, right? Because that's DC putting everything they have out there. They have access to Marvel's characters. That should better sell.
And is this volume or sales?
So they have both. ICV2 always provides both. What I've been referencing is units sold. But
okay.
if you look at the dollar amount sales, it actually remains the same between the top 2 or the top 3, excuse me.
Okay.
I guess that makes sense because then the price point for the other one makes up for whatever the difference in volume would have been, I guess. Okay.
And look, I bought three copies.
Right.
Of a Superman Spider-Man. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have
so
self-control. I only got one.
I feel like there are a lot of people who do that for these books, and that's going to bolster that sale number as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for me, this is sort of much ado about nothing. Other than the fact that yes, DC is still dominating, and until Armageddon starts, and I know I was saying, oh, Ultimate Endgame is going to be the thing. It hasn't been the thing, and I think a lot of that has to do with the marketing and the story about the Ultimate Universe, which I've been saying has been terrible for Marvel. It's a terrible look, but I think Armageddon is where we're going to see the tea leaves shift, or where we're going to see things change.
Fumbled. They
I'd argue with
they really
that.
fucking fumbled at the 10-yard line too.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, like right at the end.
Look at me, I can make a sports analogy. I can do it.
I think we missed the super chat. Marco, can you read it? The last common sense super chat.
The last. Oh, I don't see it on my end. Oh, I see it now. Okay. Uh, Tsutomu Nihei did drew and wrote a Wolverine comic back in the 2000s. It got reprinted into Wolverine Snicked Manabu Yashihiro, made a cover for made a cover for Transformers. Huh.
I thought you were having a stroke, Marco.
That's why I
Ah.
wanted Marco to read it.
Yeah. I was like, oh, he's done. Like he was gone.
Um, can we get a wheel spin, Tyler? The old one.
Yeah. Before Marco goes, we can get a little wheel spinning. Because it might be a minute.
Could be.
No, have a drink.
Hey.
Yeah.
Saluti.
Mhm. Your boy's parched.
Yeah, I opened up my Voyeur issue 1, and I only got 5060 as my number. I wanted a fun one.
Oh, I
I
didn't
forgot to
think
check.
I wanted a fun one.
I hope that Leah Williams is the owner of 069.
That'd be crazy.
I feel like that would be, she would appreciate that. Yeah.
Oh, that'd been a good question.
Yeah. Next time. New X-Men event, and we're gonna get Marco's thoughts on this, and then we'll let you go, Marco. DMX is
Huh.
what they are serving up for the next X event, which will begin in September. Jed McKay and Federico Vincentini is the writer-artist duo for this one. We don't know a ton. We do have preview images that are from the Comics Giveaway Day 2026,
Yeah.
which are uncolored. And all they really show is essentially what is the current roster of the X-Men looking cool. That's really all they show. This means that Armageddon, and I believe this means that Armageddon, DNX, and Queen in Black will all be happening concurrently.
And Ultimate
Damn.
Impact?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
Oh, wow.
Don't like that put in that perspective, but
let me put it
Yeah.
a little let me put a little finer point on that for you, because this feels like a little bit of a lie was told to us.
okay.
Tom Brevoort told us that there was going to be a big pause between the last X event and the new X event. He said, quote, we got a little choked on event stuff early on, and a certain number of X fans have not been shy about saying that. The "you keep putting events in the middle of my books" crowd has been louder than usual because it's happening a little more than we might have otherwise intended. So we'll probably go a somewhat longer period of time between the end of Age of Revelation and the next thing. It probably won't seem like that long because there are 12 months in a year, but it's not going to happen in March, but it is coming.
Okay.
It's not gonna happen. Oh, so okay. So cool. It's not gonna happen in March. So they waited a month. That's crazy.
What do you think about the fact, Marco, that we've got this announcement? DNX, evolution is contagious, is the tagline. Do you think it's too early? Do you even care?
Okay, so as considering I haven't been following the X-Men series, considering I haven't had that perspective of there's too many events, disrupting my comics, this standalone image does interest me. I do like this concept of evolution is contagious, and maybe it's I'm off the back of reading a lot of new X-Men stuff where they were talking about secondary, secondary powers and evolutions and stuff like that. So the concept and the name itself was kind of catchy. For what it's worth, the page, I mean, whatever. It's the inks are cool, right? But the image behind it seemingly being a bit of action, there's this kind of like nuclear fallout association with it. Um, I'm curious, and genuinely curious about it. So, at best, I hope it's something that can bring me back, and maybe they do something a little bit different because this does feel different. There is I think something from what was it? Jed McKay carries the tagline of hinting at another major mutant change. So change for me in the X line is necessary and I think welcome.
It is change though that's been talked about since X-Men #1. This is the 3K thing. In the background we have the White Beast, who is the leader of 3K. And the whole idea is that they were able to remember early on, which is what you read, Marco, when they were turning adults into mutants.
That's right. Yeah. Yep.
That's this. And now that evil beast has the knowledge of the Age of Revelation to give him that. So like this is just a continuation of Jed McKay's run, really. My hesitation or my interest is what it affects. What's getting roped into this? What other titles are getting roped into this? If this is just a Jed McKay thing that like he gets to tell as an event book that continues his X-Men thing and he gets to tell X-Men stories, and like it's also drawn by Federico Vincentini, who I think is phenomenal. He did some of the Imperial books, one of the Imperial issues that I think we all pretty much really liked. It was like the Hulk's fighting Black Panther and all that. So I'm excited for that. Like this one, it doesn't feel like an event for me as much as an arc that is now separated into a separate title. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, Sean, before you get in, just gonna say goodbye to the crowd.
Get the fuck out of here.
Thank you guys so much. Loved Leah on the show. Can't wait to have her back. And chaps, I'll see you guys later. Oh, actually, hold on.
Pals, just so you know, look who's not leaving early and who was here on time. This guy. Huh? This guy.
Absolutely.
Gotta take my dog to the vet. Hold on.
Oh, now I feel like an asshole. Good job.
Oh, wait. I can't pass. Do I have to re-sign in?
Oh, if you just leave and I'll figure it out.
Oh my God. But what if he leaves and it closes the whole
No, it
Zoom?
says end. Yeah, it says end.
Yeah.
Can you just pass it over to me?
No, because I'm not signed in. It won't let me. Hold on. Let me re-sign in.
Uh-oh, chat.
Let me re-sign in.
Well, it won't end the stream. The stream will still go on in the background. We would just have to make a quick Zoom thing.
Oh, true.
So it's not the worst thing.
Hold on. Let me just.
We're doing it live. Fuck it.
Oh no, you signed me out.
Yeah, you good, Marco?
I'm trying to. There it is. Make host. Let's go.
Okay. Who's host?
Put it to Sean.
What the fuck?
Hi, brother.
Namaste.
No respect here, gee.
See you guys.
Look, I think that the fact that this has been organically building within the pages of X-Men makes it way more tolerable than it being yet another event that just comes out of left field. But this has been exhausting. And I think for me, you can't tell me that we're in a new status quo when you do events so often that you can't sit in anything. And that's what this has felt like for a while. I'm not reading the X books. This is not enough to make me break my X ban. But I want this to be good. Everything that you said, Tyler, sounds interesting.
Sure.
Like it sounds interesting, but when I actually read it, I'm like, oh God.
Yeah, I feel you. I assume we'll still probably read this for Pals Pulse. It's an event event, new number 1. So that might be the contract you sign if you like it enough. I
Yeah.
think Vincentini on art is a big point for me. That is exciting. But yeah, I'm still reading the X-Men book, so it's very much like no real peaks or valleys for me with X-Men currently. It kind of is just going. So maybe this can maybe breathe some life into it, or maybe this is like we culminate this 3X story and we end it here, and then something new can rise from that. Maybe like from the ashes. Ah, fuck, but they used that already.
It's worth saying, by the way, that this is going to be a separate event series.
Yeah.
So my understanding is that there will be like a DNX number 1,
Yeah.
which means that this won't be a traditional crossover. So yeah, there will probably be tie-ins, but I think that it's unlikely that your favorite X book will be so impacted that it will feel like a different series, which is what's been happening so far with
Yeah,
some of these.
I think the list of tie-ins will be interesting.
Yeah.
It's also
Well, like,
September, which we don't have solicits for yet. So like we don't even know what X-Men books will be out at that point.
right, right. Like Age of Revelation changed like everything. Like there were essentially no X-Men books that were doing what they were doing before. Like they all kind of had to
Yeah.
play in that new sandbox. And that can create a jumping off point for a lot of people. So at the very least, I'll say I think this is a smarter way to go about it.
Fair. Yep.
Um, there's one last thing that I want to talk about. And it's a quote from Alan Moore.
I show him. It kind of has a good feel if I play that when I show Alan Moore's face.
The marginalized creator himself.
Ah.
And there are a lot of quotes floating around from Alan Moore this week. And I typically don't like reading Alan Moore quotes on the show because they sound bitter. And I know where he's coming from. Like, I get it now. I didn't get it for years, but I get it after the Twilight of the Superheroes deep dive. But I don't want to do a bash fest. Retro Futurista got an interview with Moore, and the one quote that I felt comfortable bringing on was one that I actually think has a lot of merit. And I'm curious what you think about this, Tyler. Quote, "What first attracted me to the comics field was that it was ignored by culture and regarded as a trash medium suitable only for children of the working classes. It was cheaply mass-produced with tens or thousands of copies distributed each week or month, and it seemed to me that in the right hands, comics could become a field where useful, powerful, potentially liberating ideas, represented in an attractive and engaging form, could be transmitted to young or poor people throughout society, quickly and captivatingly, to the people in society who most need those ideas." I think that's pretty level statement, right?
Yeah, I don't see any issue with that.
Here's the part that has people a little bit jittery, so to say. "That was what I'd hoped the comics industry might become, rather than predominantly a medium that has priced itself beyond the reach of children of the poor, and which seems to be, even in its more worthy examples, a field that is generating product largely by, for, and about middle-class people. Nothing against middle-class people, of course. It's simply that the comic strip form was originally conceived by, for, and about middle classes, who were its audience and, for my money, its very best creators. That is the comics field I'd like to see, brimming with new ideas and available to everyone, but realistically, I don't imagine that is ever going to happen. So I've chosen to put my remaining energies elsewhere." Is Alan Moore right that the comics industry has left the poor behind from a creator standpoint and from a commercial standpoint with regard to price?
Oh, 100% across the board. Typically, also like I think a lot of the Alan Moore quotes that you don't bring up on the show, I also kind of agree with Alan Moore. So I like when Alan Moore be yapping, which he's been doing a lot lately. I think he's right here because think about like what comics were like. It was even Marvel. It was just two dudes who wanted to make funny books, and now it is owned by Disney, a mega corporation that any change to the comics or anything they put out is justified by how much money you can make, no matter what book it is. That is all that it drives. The goal is to make money, whereas originally the goal was to create art. And I think that affects everything. It affects what books are being published. That's why we have Marvel books that maybe would be ongoings that are 5 issues. That affects the sale of books and the price of books because they're owned by these corporations where number go up is all that matters. So instead of your books being created by, Joe Schmo who, might bartend at the bar down the block, who has this cool fantasy book that he wants to make, they're instead owned by corporations who maybe donate to genocidal countries. I don't know. Like it's a much bigger thing that is lost. And I think when I go to things like Mocha Fest or presumably what Bodega will be or BEC, I know we bashed it last week, but presumably what that would be is those people making those zines, making those comics that are made by the people. They control how much it costs. They control what's in it. It is a singular vision, and I think that has been lost through the IPification of comic books. Sorry, I feel like I was a Tyler soapbox, but Moore is spitting here, and I agree with him.
Yeah, dude, you're good. And I agree with every word that you and Moore said. Let's think about Absolute Batman, right? To me, that is the clearest example that Alan Moore is correct. Absolute Batman posits an idea that we're living with a Bruce Wayne who is not rich, who's not a millionaire, who's working class, and everything like that. Nah. I'm reading the book. I read every issue. I love it to death, but nah. Not to that part. My man has means. There's no part of the book that makes me feel like he's limited by lack of money in any way. We never see him go to work, really. We never see him struggle with any kind of finances whatsoever. Compare him to Peter Parker.
Yeah. Absolute Batman has a friend who has a plane he could just hop on.
Yeah. Like, that's the kind of working class that I think Scott Snyder would think about when he thinks Batman not rich, because that's Scott's life too. That's James Tynion's life too. This new crop of creators feels very much like they come from the middle class. They could do other things. Comics is not like their only possible form of expression because everything else priced them out. And like, no, James Tynion went to a very good school, and Scott Snyder taught at that very good school.
It's coming from a middle-aged college learned perspective.
Yeah.
And with that comes a perspective that is not of the guy making fucking Fritz the Cat, So I think that definitely tints the work for sure.
Steve Canera says, not sure I agree. There's a heck of a lot more output of creator-owned books now than the 80s. You can't expect it to come from the big two, but it doesn't mean it isn't here. Well, sure, but I even think that that's true for indie creators. I don't personally know how the majority of people afford to make indie comics. Do you understand? Like, I don't know. Steve, I think you've said you've made comics or you've had some involvement. Creating comics right now is extremely expensive.
Yeah.
And it is prohibitively so if you're poor.
Yep.
That's just a fact.
And not only that, reading comics is prohibitively poor if you're prohibitive if you're poor. And
Yeah.
that's been that way since the 90s. It was, the book was made to be disposable. That's what original comics is. And I think that's what Alan Moore is talking about. OG comics, it was, a dime. You read it, you enjoy it, toss it in the trash. That's actually, I think, his view of what comics are and what they should be across the board. He talks about it, adults are too busy being children. That's one of his other things. But I think that is gone because the people who are creating comics now are the people who had the means to be able to read them in their youth.
Look at what Hayden just said. I paid $6,000 plus for Pharaoh's Keeper.
That is impossible for most people.
I'm desperate to make comics, but I can't afford $6,000 to make my comic.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
A couple more super chats might help, but
Like Steve brings up webtoon comics.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. You can make them. You can make
But-
them.
Common sense though says here, what about webtoon comics? Oh wait, you need a computer. Like I know that is like for us, like everyone has a computer in their pocket, right? Yes, but no. There are still like I work in social services. So I see like there are places that cities have with computers so people can actually use a computer to fill out a job application. You know, because it's not universally acceptable that everyone has a computer. Some people don't. Some people need to use the library computer still for stuff. And I think there's a lot of assumptions being made on what people's means are across the board. And I just don't think people understand that shit's different for people out there.
And I think that probably the large majority of the people in this conversation are not who Alan Moore is referencing as far as the poor people that should be making these books. I'm telling you I can't afford $6,000 to make a comic, but I also spend a ton of money every week on comics.
Yeah.
So way more money than the average person who's poor, who I grew up around, can possibly afford. I don't know anybody. I have zero friends in real life who read comics because they can't afford them. Nobody. None. That's a problem.
Yeah.
That should be a huge problem that we think about, but it's not because we're all in on it.
And it's funny. I think it was recently Dave Pilkey announced a whole initiative across the country of little libraries that are stocked now full of Dave Pilkey books that are just accessible to kids. Like that's somebody who's looking at comics from an accessibility standpoint and on the youth standpoint that I think has been lost to what we read comics at for the show.
Yeah, 100%. And this is another excellent point that I'm so glad Kurt Wildschut's here for this. The biggest barrier for new creators is time investment. If you're working paycheck to paycheck, what time do you have to hone your craft?
I'm going to bring Warcraft into this, Sean, because I always hear it in my head when I think about time. You ever click on a goblin and he goes, time is money, friend.
Time is money, friend. Yeah.
That is like a mantra for me because that is the balancing game that I have to play constantly in my head of, all right, like even it's like I can't do my laundry. Like maybe can I afford to let someone else do it because of all the time it takes to do? Like I don't know. That's speaking on a different level of privilege, sure. But like those are the balances that the everyday American has to do based on time and money.
Well, dude, talk about gas. Talk about gas. What do you have? What do you have more money for? Gas or making comics? What do you have more time for? Making sure your kids are secure and making sure when you get home after your 9 to 5, they're fed and taken care of, making sure you like all these things. What do you have the time to allocate to? That matters. When you get home after your 9 to 5, do you have the energy?
Yep.
To make comics? Maybe you do. Maybe all you can do is an hour a day. But at an hour a day, how long is it going to take you to get your book out? And can you afford it?
Capitalism doesn't want you. Capitalism wants you to go home, be tired enough to do bare minimum, so you just go to work the next day and continue that, being a cog in the machine. Sorry, that is maybe a little dark of a view, but
well, we are inundated with entertainment.
To placate the masses, yes. I mean, we're talking about superheroes all the time. We're no solution,
Right. This isn't a condemnation. The reason why I wanted to talk about this was to not diagnose, because I think Alan Moore diagnosed the problem.
Sure.
But to have a discussion and bring it to light that there is something to this. And I think we don't talk enough about the fact that, there is a voice that has been cut out of the conversation. And it's the voice that created these characters. Peter Parker doesn't feel like a man of money.
Yeah.
Money limits him. That's a part of his life. What other superhero can you think of who's limited by money?
I don't know, dude.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's because they're almost hero fantasies, so they are what we can't be. That's why Iron Man exists. That's why Batman has a lot of money. That's why fucking Uncle Scrooge has got that pit of gold, and those comics do well.
Um, Steve
The-
says comic strips were a working class product due to literacy, and they were frowned upon by the middle class for decades. That's what Alan Moore's saying.
yeah,
That's what he's saying. Ben Lowley with a 5 spot. It is weird thinking about it. It feels like the 90s kid version of me would not be able to afford to get into comics legally today. You're probably right.
I was pirating The Walking Dead in college. I'll be honest. I was reading that shit but like I was in college. Like that's already at a point where I'm much better off than most people.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that sucks. And what are we leaving behind for the next generation when these kids cannot afford to get
Yep.
into it? I mean, you talk about the compact comics, and it's a great way because like $10 is way more tolerable than $5 every month
Yep.
to get a slice of a story. But that's that initiative.
I also think it's digital comics. I know we like to talk about the physical here, but like you weren't on Pals Polls this week, Sean, but a lot of people talked about how they read digital comics on their phones,
Sure.
which was kind of bonkers for me as a comic reader in the moment. But that's accessibility. That's like, hey, time. That's time. Like, when do I have time? I don't know. When I'm on the subway, and when I have in my pocket, I have comics in my pocket. I'm gonna read it then, and it's also maybe a little less cost prohibitive from
Right.
a certain standpoint because it's like it's $5 rather than $5 for one thing. Sure, I don't get it immediately, but
Which is completely valid. Having to play that waiting game. I just feel like we're getting to a place where the only stories will be told by the same sorts of people over and over again. And that now it goes beyond race.
yeah,
It goes to class because Rom V
yes,
is a person of color, but he's not poor. He came from a very successful career. I believe he was an engineer.
yep. Which
You know,
wild pivot.
but that story, by the way, is a lot of these creator stories. Scott Snyder is the same. He was a book writer. Obviously, Charles Soule was a lawyer.
Yep.
You know,
Or the guy who wrote Spider-Man was the son of J.J. Abrams.
fuck that guy. Oh man, I think we get the point. I think we get the point. I just think it's worth saying.
And,
I
and,
know,
and you know what? I don't have a solution,
right? Me
unfortunately.
neither.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
but you're right though. There is, we've tackled, the diversity issue is a constant issue in comics. But class as an aspect of that diversity is not something we talk about.
Yep. And leave it to Alan Moore to see that angle and bring it
Yep.
to light. We've got one more or a couple more things to do here. So we're gonna wrap things up for you guys in just a moment. Clayton Bergstrom with a 699 or yeah, 699. Thank you so much, brother. All this comic talk is making me want to read Animal Man. Peace out. Hopefully see some of y'all at Post Pals.
Good old PP. Well,
Hell
hold on.
yeah. We got a lot of PPs going on.
Yeah, a lot of PPs. We got the CP thing. We got to say TCP. We can't say CP. TCP.
I want to. Oh, I got to read off all
Yeah.
all
You
the
want
pals' names.
Oh, look, I spun on water.
We don't owe any more,
I'm just trying to
but
get you to have a drink before you have to do this marathon.
we'll do.
Now, I'll read the super chat here from Entertain Me. Isn't Green Lantern Kyle having money trouble and need work? I think he's trying to say, isn't Kyle Rayner a similar character that needs work? I haven't read enough Kyle Rayner stuff to say that. I do know he's an artist in continuity, so he's probably broke.
Which, if you're right, then that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. It's one more example that we have to point to. Okay. You guys have been amazing today. You stuck by us for an interview. You stuck by us for this show. Really appreciate you. And those of you whose names I'm about to shout out, understand that you deserve it, and we love you, and you guys are fantastic. Special shout out to our pals vs. Legends, the Hound of Justice, Atomic Hound, Starcross, Catherine Stars, the Spear of Judgment, Jay's Jumble, Safe Haven, Hayden's Hideout, the Red Spiral, Spiral Storm, Jesse and the Juggernaut, Kyle the Zenith Flare, Panda v Panda, Ted Wong, Adam Solus Smith, Sam the Last Young Renegade, Blur, Jekyll Jose, Entertain Me, Peter, Living Lightning Electrics, Just Unseen, Shalom Paladin Warburg, Jamzilla, and Jamzilla the Party Monster, excuse me, and Cosm the Andric. And I want to give a special thank you to Pals vs. members, Brian Demolished Del Pozo, Kefis the Incorruptible, Momentum Mike Elliott, Dan the Truth Trudeau, Marley Manastorm, Slow Flow Dameron, Christian Uncaged, The Spear of Justice, Izzy's Issues, Robert Runback, Cashaback, Pete, The Dreamweaver Collins, James, Just Jamming Jones, Paul Powerhouse Smith, Neon Knight, The Cosmic Avenger, BJ Kicks of Comics Are Dope, The Grand Alchemist, Chop Harder Alchemist, John, Barrier, B, me, the Almighty Perez, Houston the Century Kid Murphy, Young Dede, Faye Fighter Dewooty, Cosmic in November, Carter the Owl Shogunate, Steve Swarm Canary, Scriptured, the Wardens of the Word, Jack of Some Trades, Cloutier, Chris the Cure Coleman, Emperor, MD, Johnny, Mad Max, Pliskin, Lieutenant Earl Wagnus, the Death Dealer, Jack, Grimstone, Grimmy, Eli the Mothman, Patrick Zay, Captain Chris, Ray Lytle, Super Job, Intergray, and Ash.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Whose origin is coming next week.
Can we get a tune to it, like the Pokey Rap next time?
I could try that.
Okay.
I could try that.
Yeah.
So I think maybe it was you or Kale had challenged me to do it like we didn't start the fire.
That's definitely a Kale thing.
Oh man. And then the last thing, go ahead.
Sorry, DWS says finally you guys got Alan Moore on the show because he's just like a third face here. If only.
We're always trying to make things exciting for you guys. Always. Steve says it's also kind of weird to believe that poor people want to only read about other poor people. I don't think anybody's suggesting that.
Yeah, it's not what we're saying. Just to be able to have stories told by them with their perspectives on life would be more refreshing.
Yeah, I don't think that at all. I think that there are lots of heroes that I love that don't reflect my life. But I think what you're missing in that statement is why representation matters. When I say I want representation, I'm not telling you I want only black stories. I'm telling you I want to be a part of the conversation.
You're a black guy who's been reading superhero comics his whole life. You've read plenty of... So, like, is that same idea just with class? That's all it is.
Exactly. 100,000%. I have been poor most of my life, and that hasn't prevented me from loving Iron Man or Bruce Wayne just because I can't relate to their lifestyle. Yeah. I love their characters, but I would like to see something that reflects me too, and I don't think that's weird at all. And, it's oftentimes people of privilege, whether that's white privilege or class privilege, who say things like that. And I'm not calling you out, Steve. I'm just saying, like, expand, think bigger. Let's play a game. The game.
I'm gonna make an executive call here. I'm not gonna put the wheel for you or me. We'll just both be in it.
Okay.
Because it's just the two of us. Yeah, it's just the two of us. So, who is it gonna be though? Is the question. Boom. All right. I'm gonna spin this. Which character are we gonna say is the worst of all time? Did we agree on that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. I need to get a reverse. I need to like reverb that and reverse it for worst of all time.
Oh God, that makes me feel creepy, and I haven't even heard it yet.
Very Diablo. All right, which character do we have to argue is the worst of all time?
I hope it's not someone. I hope it's not Gene.
This is the first repeat, so I'm gonna re-roll it. But it was Blink. We've done Blink before. I know.
Yeah.
Marco had a tough time with that one. Oh. Have we done Frankenstein before?
No.
We haven't. No. So this is DC's Frankenstein. Agent of Shade. Okay. Huh. A character I really like.
Okay.
All right. You want to flip a coin for it, Sean, on camera?
Do I have it? Oh, I do. All right. Call it.
Tails.
All right. I won't be able to. I will. Can I lower my camera? Yeah, I can do it. All right. I
You got
just
pants
want
on?
to
You
make
got
sure
pants
you
on?
all know I don't cheat. I do have pants on. I
Okay,
never
that's
do
good.
the show without pants, ladies and gentlemen.
I
Here
often
we
do
go.
it. Oh, there's a flip there. No, you don't need to show us that. Trust that.
It's tails. So
So I'm gonna pick to go first. Let's pull his band-aid off.
okay.
Do you want to get the poll up while
I am going to get the poll up, but I got to give you your timer.
yes.
So I've got your timer, and then in the interim space, when you're done, I'll get the poll up.
All right. So Frankenstein, the agent of shade, is the worst character of all time. Do you know why? Do you know why, listeners, dear listeners? Derivative. He is just all Frankenstein. Every single property has one of these fuckers in it. You got your Universal monsters. You got your Mary Shelley, the creator of Frankenstein. It's sure he's a literary character, a literary icon, but he's such a cookie cutter character. Why throw him in the DC universe? Why throw him where Hawkman exists, where Superman is the archetypal version of that character, when you just have a redundant Frankenstein who, I don't know, let's give him a sword and a wife. Big whoop. Worst of all time.
Okay, that was Tyler's pitch. I'm going to get the poll ready to go up, and then I will go. Who convinced you that Frankenstein is the worst of all time? Sean, Tyler, or neither? Let's see.
Thank you for your straightforward binary options and not the Markofied.
Everything Marco does is Markified. Here we go.
Yep.
Frankenstein is the worst of all time because who gives a fuck about Frankenstein? I have Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash. I don't need Frankenstein. In fact, I would argue that putting Frankenstein in comics completely obscures the point of Frankenstein's monster and makes it stupid. What do we care about the monster without the message? What's the point of the monster without the idea that a man created a monster? Frankenstein is the guy. He's the monster, not the creation. So to me, that takes something very interesting and compelling and twists it into essentially slop. Just something for you to enjoy without thinking. That's why Frankenstein sucks.
Not the slop.
Yes, the slop.
Frankenslop. Speaking of Frankenstein, did you see the Del Toro Frankenstein?
I didn't actually.
Oh,
and
I
I
think
really wanted to see that and The Bride, but I missed both.
Frankenstein's on Netflix. I recommend it. It's good.
Did you see The Bride?
I did not. That looked horrible to me, but like in a good way.
I don't know. I genuinely thought the trailers looked decent. Maybe
you also big Christian Bale guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Fair enough.
Zenith Flair says Marco had to dip just so Sean couldn't roast him for how scared he was to ask Leia my question. Zenith was the one asking the Gooner cover question. Sean.
Dude, I love the fact that Kyle was here and finally we had a guest on who he could get his horny questions off to. And she would answer. I love that. Good for you. I'll let the poll run for a little longer. There's only 20 votes. I know you guys can do better than that. Come on with it. Come on with it now.
It's been a long day. This is a marathon they've been running with us.
Yeah.
Actually, it's not too much. I mean, Sean and I still have to do something else after this, but.
Oh, that's right. We do.
Yeah.
Kyle says, y'all need the classic coin flip app, so Sean doesn't need to go through the allegations every time.
No, we're doing allegations.
Oh, man. And then last comment we'll read before we give the results here. Roosevelt says, neither of you mentioned that Frankenstein is a cuck, so you both lose.
Hey, I don't kink shame.
Neither do I, and I also wasn't aware of that, so there you go. Maybe that's a point against me. All right, let's end the poll. Who convinced you that Frankenstein is the worst of all time? 60% of you voted for moi. Tyler got 20% of the vote, tied with neither. Okay.
Damn.
I think it was the passion, because I think you made a good argument. I don't know.
I think I went first. I gave you my material.
No, you didn't.
You have no way of proving it. I'm going to make allegations you can't disprove. I wonder if, to avoid that, though, we should do next time individual characters for each person who had a better argument. That way we're not, and also it fucks Marco up.
That's just too much randomizing, and
It would get us through our list better. It's weird
I
that
don't
we had
wanna
a
get
fucking
through the
duplicate.
list. All right, you guys have been wonderful today. Thank you so much for all the love and support. Monday, we'll be back with you for Pals previews, of course. And I'm actually going to take a gander at the schedule because it's possible. Yes. New X-Men book club is this Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Come hang out with us for that. It is going to be incredible. This is one of my favorite runs of all time. So I'm super excited to talk about the first 25 issues of it. It's going to be fantastic.
Do we have something Monday we can announce? With a friend of the show?
This coming Monday?
Yeah, the 13th. Somebody who has been on the show. Hold on, I'm gonna go on the Discord real quick.
Yeah.
I'm gonna at you real quick, Sean.
Why am I blanking? I feel. Oh, that's right. I'm so excited for that. Fuck. We are having back on the show this Monday. David Harper is coming back on from Sketched. We're going to talk about Sketchbook 2026, the state of the industry, and all that jazz. Come hang out with us. We'll be live at, what did we agree to? What did we, 6 p.m.,
I forget.
I think? Yeah, we'll be live. Come hang out with us. It's going to be fun. Love talking with David Harper. Thursday, we'll be live for Pals Polls at 8 p.m. Eastern. And then before you know it, we're right back here at 10:15.